Hello, all. I wanted to finally be able to check back in with you. As you can see, I have finally received my new video camera. And I do apologize in the delay in getting back to you. I know I said I was going to have something up as of Monday, um, but I had a fun-filled week with my doggo. Let me see if he'll let me pick him up and show you guys. This is Mr. Edward. Mr. Edward was in the ER vet for a good amount of time this week. He's okay now, but we ate something that was not agreeable. And it was let's just say it was a long and expensive three couple of days. So I do apologize for getting back to you. But with that being said, you guys are off to the races. You have been doing a fantastic job for the most part in getting up to speed with everything as far as the course is concerned. I'm seeing you guys in the grade book. You guys are well into chapter 3, most of you at this point. So far, so good. You have heeded the advice that, again, we move quick in this course and that things are going to come due very quickly. So with that being said, I wanted to, again, just touch base. Where are we? Where are we going? Where are we coming from? All of those good things. So looking at the blocks, last week again was really meant for you to become familiar with the course, purchase the online platform, maybe answer, hopefully. A little bit disappointed out of the 32, I only had 18 responses for the introductory discussion board post, but I will be getting to responding to those this weekend. And so that was really week 1. Week 2, now that we are in week 2, again, as of last night, right? And now today, everything is coming due. So this is the first big bucket of things that are coming due. So again, how the weeks work. Thursday nights, you're going to have your smart books. Those are going to make sure that you are up to speed on the readings, you understand the material. Hopefully you've realized now it's adjusting in real time based on how you're responding and giving you hints and feedback about things you might not know. Now, again, I'll just reiterate, if you are purely just taking those and thinking, oh, I'm doing really great on that, I should do pretty outstanding on this exam, again, that is not going to be the case. You have to go back and read those chapters. So chapters 1, chapters 2, chapters 3, chapter 4 are all going to be combined together to be due this weekend in addition to your first exam. Your first exam is coming up on Sunday. I'm going to send out multiple emails. You're going to be so sick of them by the time the weekend is through because I'm going to continue to remind you that your first exam is due. Why am I doing that? Because a lot of students forget, or a lot of students use that excuse. Oh, I forgot. Can't do it in this course because, again, our timeline is really condensed. It's very crunched. So yesterday, hopefully you have completed all your smart books. Remember, your smart books and your homework get a little bit of grace. So if you missed a couple of those smart books, they are open until the end of the semester. Same with your homeworks. Excuse me. But your quizzes, your labs, and your exams are all due on the day that they are due. There is no secondary makeups for those. So make sure that you are completing your quizzes by tomorrow, if you have not already done so, and make sure you're completing your lab assignments as of tomorrow. And give yourself Sunday to make sure that you are scheduling time to find a nice quiet place, to make sure internet works, to make sure computer works. Excuse me, all of those are absolutely required to take a virtual online class. So those being in as an excuse that doesn't work, not going to work, right? I give you all of the Sunday for those exams that are due just to focus on taking the exam. So make sure you're setting yourself up for success. And again, you're going to receive several emails that are going to remind you that exam 1 is due on Sunday. When's the next exam? Exam 2, guess what? 5-week course. It's due next Sunday. So again, hopefully you're getting in the routine, making sure one chapter where in 16 weeks would be a week, we're condensing it down into a day. So just to keep you up to speed. And as I've said Most of you, from looking at the grade book, you're doing a great job. You hit the ground running. You're doing fantastic. Keep up the good work. Now let's go back to modules, because what you're going to see is the following. I haven't looked yet, but exam 1 has technically already opened. If you look at it, it has already opened. Now, what am I telling you this for? I'm telling you this because I understand a couple things. One, some students take it in the summer because that's the only time that they can take this course. They take it completely virtually because they have outside responsibilities. And third of all, if some of those outside responsibilities include work, most of the time students are working on the weekends. All of these things I completely understand, which means I open the exams a couple days before they are due, but what that does not mean is you can't go in there and take a peek. Once you open that exam, you have to take it in complete and utter fullness. Or when you hit close out, you're going to populate a big fat 0 if you have answered no questions. There is no makeups, there are no peaks, there are no whoopsie daisies. When you sit down and take this exam, you need to be fully prepared. Now, other things I want you to make note of. Inside of here, you get 60 minutes to take the exam. It is 100 points total, right? So you're going to get 50 questions that are going to be pulled from a pool of questions. And again, with that being said, you will get those points doubled by 2. It'll be 100 points in total. The first thing I really want you to pay attention to, though, is that I need you to make sure that you read all of this. This is the lockdown browser that is a requirement for you to complete the exam. The exam is being taken not in the platform, not in McGraw-Hill. It's being taken through Canvas with lockdown browser. So again, there's some requirements. You need to download it. You need to turn off pop-up blockers. You need to make sure that you close out after you have downloaded the internet completely and reopen it fresh with the download now installed. Several students try to open several tabs and do it that way. It's not going to work. Again, it is going to make sure that you are locked into the browser that you are using. If you try to navigate away and open another tab, it will close you out of the exam and it will end the exam session for you. So please make sure that you first, before you sit down and take the exam, read through this. Maybe you're doing this tonight or tomorrow to ensure that you're ready to go when you sit down and take the exam. Look through the requirements, watch the basic video of how to install it. Look for hints, tricks, and tips. My brain froze there. If you need to troubleshoot, it's going to be here, right? It's going to give you guidelines. It's going to give you answers. There's a support. So take the time, do the due diligence, read through this first. This is an opening prompt for every exam to make sure that you are prepared for this, okay? Because you can't use, I didn't know I had to do this, and you can't start the exam at 11:50 and think I'm going to be able to complete the exam in 10 minutes, right? The exam is going to close at 11:59. Just because you're starting it at 11:50 doesn't mean you get as, oh, I started it before 11. No, the exam closes and locks you out at 11:59 p.m. So if you are in question 3 at 11:59, that's what you're going to receive a grade on. So again, I say all of this to let's get prepared for success. Again, most of you are doing a phenomenal job in making sure that this is all ready to go. So with all that in mind and with all of that being said, please get prepared. Please make sure to constantly look into the announcements, right? There hasn't been much other than what I posted last week, so make sure that that's all completed. And again, anytime that I need to post something, maybe there's a glitch, maybe the homework came up incorrectly, maybe something is going on the platform. This is the only possible way I can get in touch with you. So if you are not sure and you're coming into an error, come into the announcement section. Maybe I've addressed it already. Okay. Everything else, there is, again, if you go back into the modules and then to start here, if you go into modules, there are some tips and tricks. There's some information for success. But again, my biggest thing to tell you, the number one thing I can guarantee that's going to set you up for success, read the chapters. That's the only thing I can promise you that it has all of the material that you could potentially be tested on. So with that being said, good luck. I'm going to continue to remind you tomorrow. I'm going to continue to remind you Sunday. Set yourselves up for success. I know you can do it. Again, most of you, fantastic job. You hit the ground running. And again, over the weekend and beginning next week, I will start to populate responses to your introductory posts. Thank you for those. Have a great day. Have a good weekend and good luck. If you have any questions, make sure you shoot me an email. And if after you take the exam, you're not happy with success, let's set up some time in office hours so that we can talk about it and figure out how to make sure 2, 3, and 4 are successful and we're getting the grades we want. All right. Have a great day.